Topic of the week, saddles. Hey everyone. So we're going to talk about saddles this week. I always want to caveat by saying I'm no saddle expert. I'm a rider just like you, and so I struggle just like the rest of us. So saddle choice is sort of like an art. You like what you like, but saddle technology has come a really long way over the recent years, and so nowadays there's a saddle for every riding format. There's a saddle for just about every riding style. So in a phrase, there's a saddle for every butt. I'm going to reference a couple of articles. Cervello wrote a good article on saddle technology, and I'll leave that in the description below, that link, in case you want to read the full article. Slow Twitch, another forum or blog on the internet, also had a really good article on challenging the prevailing opinions about road saddles versus triathlon saddles. Since this is Ironman website and a triathlon website, we're going to stick to kind of the triathlon style of riding. But both these articles are really good to help explain the basics of technology, why saddles are built the way they are, and how they perform. I'm just going to give you a very layman's summary of all of that. So road saddles versus tri saddles. The road saddle. So I've got a couple of saddles here. I've gone through a few. Okay, this is just a couple of more recent ones. This is a more road bike style of conventional saddle. Although this is actually, I used this in a 70.3 race last year, and really did great by and large. But this year, I literally just switched. In fact, I think I mentioned it. I don't have the saddle, but you'll see the pictures that I'll show. Went with a cutout saddle that I did a little debut 60-mile ride with it, and I really liked it. But this is a more conventional road saddle, and as you can see, there's no depression. There is a raised area. The road saddle is built or designed for you to rest on your sit bones, and I'll show you a graphic of that. And because you're sitting a little more upright, your soft tissues in the areas that we all know what I'm talking about, are off the saddle, and so therefore you don't have as much pressure on that area to cause numbness, pain, potentially nerve damage, and so they're designed, they're designed for your sit bones to sit on. A tri saddle, everybody knows, or a lot of people are familiar with the Adamo double nose saddle. A triathlon position is aero, of course, more aerodynamic, and so your pelvis rotates forward. And what happens is your sit bones may even come off of the saddle, and you're resting more on your pelvic bones, which are sort of forward of your sit bones. And so, but that pelvic region is where all the nerves and the soft tissues are. And so Adamo has come up with a split nose to help alleviate that pressure. A lot of saddles nowadays come with a cutout or a split or any number of variations of design to help solve that problem. As you'll read in the articles, there's a lot of controversy on what is best. And really, like I said at the beginning, it's kind of like an art. Some folks, some triathletes will use a road saddle and prefer it. And some triathletes can only use a tri saddle, and even then they remain uncomfortable in long rides. Okay, so I'm just going to go over a couple of guidelines in trying when you're trying to choose a saddle. Okay, if you're new to the sport, or if you borrowed a bike for your first triathlon and now you bought a bike and you're dying, your saddle's just killing you. Um, I did mention to you in a tip of the week recently about getting bike fit. I think before you go spend a bunch of money on a saddle, get the bike fit done, then work into saddle choices. Okay, couple of guidelines. I'm just going to name a couple. Okay, these saddles, both of these saddles, are pretty firm. You can see that there's not much give in that ride surface. Adamo got some cushion, but in the nose area where most of where you're going to be sitting most of the time, pretty firm. Um, Firm by conventional wisdom is better. However, if you read in Slow Twitch's article, he challenges that a little bit. So you don't want to have a seat that is too soft. See that picture? Too soft. What happens is for a short ride, 10-mile ride down the road to your favorite bar and grill for a beer, that's fine. Soft is fine. But over a long period of time, that soft, cushiony saddle will sink. Your sit bones and your pelvic bone will push down into that soft, cushiony seat and put pressure on your soft tissues. Okay. And now you're back to pain and suffering. So the firmer seat will allow it to set up on your sit bones or your pelvic bone, and the tissue between the bone and your skin will toughen up over time, and that pain, that little bit of discomfort will go away, but it will keep that soft tissue off the saddle ride surface, which is your goal. Okay, so don't go too soft. Experiment with some cushion seats, but don't. If you're looking for your couch, it's a fail. Okay. Um, Also, I'd like to just there's a lot of saddles with cutouts. What you need to do is go to your local bike shop and talk to the owner, or whoever, and see if they have demo seats to try. Try the Adamo. Uh, I don't have my. I've already put my new saddle on my bike. It has a cutout, but I would encourage you to try a cutout saddle, especially for women. Um, it with a little bit of a wider seat. You want to make sure that seat width is wide enough, both in this back area here, but also in the nose, where it'll support your pelvic bones when you're in aero. Okay, a seat that's too narrow, just now you're right back to that soft tissue. Get one that's wide enough to support your pelvic bone if you're in aero, and a cutout, which is what I have now. I bought a Cell San Marco short fit. You can look that up. I have a picture here that you can see. That cutout was extremely effective on my ride, and I didn't slip around. And I had this contact saddle on, and even though I had it almost raised, the nose raised a bit, I was still slipping off of this ride surface back here. It's forward. Well, and I lowered the seat, and that helped a little bit. But this new cutout saddle, I didn't slip a millimeter. It's a little firmer seat, and so having to get used to that, but that's no hill to climb. It'll be fine. So very pleased with that saddle. I would encourage you guys to go to your bike shop, get some demos before you write the big check, and try out a bunch of different saddles. Cushion, wide, cutout, Adamo, split nose. Um, I've been through, I bet, 6 or 7 saddles now, and it may have been a function of bike fit or saddle position or location. Probably didn't give them enough time, but I encourage you to find a saddle that don't get sucked into you're a triathlete. You got to have a split nose Adamo. Maybe not. Try a bunch of different saddles, and you have to get on the bike and ride 20 miles. Stay on the bike at least an hour. to give it a fair shot and maybe ride a couple of times. So saddle technology. There is a saddle for every butt. You just got to be patient, and it's an arduous task, but stick to it, and you'll find one that fits you like a glove, and you'll be happy on those long rides. As always, thanks for watching. And if you like the video, be sure and give us a thumbs up and leave any comments below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks, and we'll see you next week.